I expected to be very humbled by this trip, in which I was. Seeing the women work as hard as they did and the children with their mules carrying water for us to fill our showers. So very humbling and eye-opening trip.
I expected the terrain to be difficult. Up there in the mountains, I mean, I knew that it was going to be, you know, a bit of a challenge, but I didn't really understand fully just how crazy it was until we got in there and started taking the trucks up and down some of those hills and some of the hikes. It was tough.
My biggest takeaway from this trip is you learn that there is no shortage of unfortunate life events for these people. And we always come here to try to do what we can do and donate our time and money. And that's something that settles pretty hard with me.
It's seeing the faces, or what the conditions they live in, knowing how fortunate myself, for living in the United States and all the conveniences that we do have. And kind of looking at how they live, and they usually always have a smile on their face.
My biggest takeaway would be the appreciation for running water. Just the small things that we take for granted back at the house. Here, it's a completely different story.
The toughness of the villagers. I mean, they carried poles up the mountain. We had a 400-pound transformer that four guys picked it up and carried it up to the top of the mountain for us.
The people, I mean, just how thankful they are and how happy they are with just how little they have and how the simple things they have to do that we have at our fingertips every day.
My biggest takeaway from the trip would be that just being able to come here and help the villagers and the people and letting them get electricity, and then them just being there, part of it and helping us. So it was, we just felt like more of a group doing it. It's just a little more fulfilling than just coming and going to work. You actually got to experience them working beside you every day.
The great community out there. Whenever we needed a hand, the locals were right there, 10, 15 of them, and it just made life easier.
My biggest takeaway from Peña Roja was just how different the world is and how blessed and lucky we are back home in the States. And it was just a humbling experience the whole time.
I went in expecting to build power lines to people without power. And that's what we do. We build power lines, and that was the easy part. But it grew into something so much more after you live a little piece of their life as they do. Yeah, I grew up hearing stories of my grandparents being raised without electricity, and wonder how it would be like farming small sections of land. Just these people are machetes and hoes. I mean, that's their farm equipment. So to work alongside of these people that have so much hope for what we're bringing, it just really, so yeah, my takeaway was just expanded so much, is not just delivering electricity, but just bringing hope to them. I mean,
So our cooperative mission is basically keep good, reliable service and always be there for the member. And I think that's what we've tried to do here. We tried to build them the best system we could, and hopefully it'll last them for a long time.
Our cooperative mission is we exist to provide friendly, affordable, and reliable electricity to our members and communities. And it's just like the IEC, the poster for Project Indiana for a better community. I mean, we're just helping them, and it wasn't too long ago we were in the same shoes getting power to the rural members.
One of our principles is cooperation with the cooperatives, among the cooperatives. And we're helping this cooperative grow member by member, and hopefully in the next 10, 15 years, they'll have a strong membership and be able to continue on.
We had a goal, we had a mission, we had a goal to do, and we did it. And I think that really stands out as far as the co-op way. Something that I took away from was when we set that pole, there were probably 30 guys, villagers from all over, not just the village that was hooking up. They didn't have a dog in that fight. I mean, their power wasn't getting turned on, and they showed up to help. And I think that really stands out as a co-op way, as a community coming together to help each other.
So our cooperative mission back home directly relates on these kind of trips for me. We work for the members, and when I come here, the people are just like the members to me. They're somebody that I enjoy to talk to and socialize and interact with. So I look at them, if they need help, I'm there to help them just like it is back home.
You know, we help establish that co-op family. So, like, for instance, Indiana, you know, all our co-ops come together in storms, and this is just an extension of our family. And, you know, we help create these co-ops here, and, you know, we try to help them if we can and when we can.
Hardest part of this trip for me was probably the terrain. I prepared at home by running and getting in shape, but you just can't prepare enough for the altitude and elevation of these hills.
The language barrier was the hardest part of this trip for sure. You know, the work was work. It's something we did every day, so that really wasn't an issue. It was the language barrier was the hardest part of this trip.
It's never easy to leave your family for 2 weeks, and you know, plus we had very little service up there to call whenever, anytime. So, but it gets, the more you do it, the easier it gets, and it's very rewarding. We say in Guatemala, every day's leg day, because you have to climb. You have to climb before you can even climb. You're climbing hills, then you're climbing poles.
It's going to change tremendously. You know, from, like I mentioned about conveniences that we have back at home, they're going to get much of that. Are they going to be the exact same? No, but it still changes you. You know, it changes how you run your life day to day. From having running water to having a light that you can actually see, get yourself dressed, get your kids up, you know, making them clean something, but it'll definitely change.
Man, I hope they can get away from the fires being in the houses, and they can get some stoves and refrigerators and just make life a little simpler.
So how I seen the lives of villagers change literally took place within 10 hours of us turning power on. I had the opportunity that I happened to have been at camp when they brought in a brand new freezer to change their life immediately, right then. I mean, it went from having to haul ice, make ice, get ice from down the hill, to having that big freezer right there at their kitchen. So that was pretty awesome to see them, to unwrap that out of the back of a truck, haul it in, plug it in, and knowing that we just right then affected their lives immediately.
I think their lives will definitely change just with having electricity. Their health will be better. I think it just gives them so much more opportunity. So yeah, I think the world's endless to them going forward. I mean, I think that everything will get better and better.
Water source. You know, now you can run an electric pump. Maybe you don't have to do that. Well, it was like 20 minutes one way down this, same bumpy, rocky, one-lane road to go retrieve water, and you're filling jugs. Well, now you're able to, maybe pump that water source closer, which saves time, which, allows time for other things.
I mean, the first thing they bought was a freezer. They can store food. It's just one less thing. They can turn a switch on, plug something in. They don't have to worry. Just one less thing they have to worry about. They're living off the land, and just one less thing they have to worry about, makes life a little bit easier for them. And eventually, hopefully, they buy an electric stove, so they get the wood-burning stove out of their kitchen, and it'll help better their lives. From what Project Indiana has brought, we've basically brought the foundation of modern life to these people. Buying freezers, being able to store meat, vegetables, and even having cold water is something that's going to be greatly impacted in their lives, as well as the possibility of bringing maybe in-home education to these people, whether they can get a computer or just lights to read books.
I don't think I could have picked a better group of guys from top to bottom on the whole list to be able to get this job done. I never once worried once we gave a task. My biggest takeaway from this trip was the excitement that I seen on the men's face after we completed the build. They had such a sense of pride and joy at the end of the day, and to see we went all the way to the end of or halfway up the mountain to turn the power on to one young lady. She had the biggest smile in the world on her face, and that's all we need as linemen, just to see that pride. So.